You're listening to the Options Insider Radio Network. For more quality options programs, visit www.theoptionsinsider.com or search for Options Insider Radio Network in your podcast provider of choice. Listeners can also access all of our programming through our mobile app, available in iTunes and on Google Play.
The options market can be a confusing place. Sorting through the daily avalanche of data, alerts, updates, articles, and analysis to find the most important information is an overwhelming prospect. But now you have help. Welcome to the Options News Rundown, the only program that breaks through the noise to bring you the most important news and information from the world of options. Every day we bring you the top 5 option stories curated by the options experts at theoptionsinsider.com, the premier source for free options information. The Options News Rundown is brought to you by Market Taker Mentoring, the leader in option trader education. Get trader education, daily trade ideas, and more with a free 1-week trial of Market Taker Mentoring's live Advantage group coaching class by visiting markettaker.com/insider. And now it's time to break through the noise. It's time for your Options News Rundown.
Good morning. Today is Friday, April 27th, 2018. This is your Options News Rundown. I'm Dan Passarelli. Our first story today is from investing.com, and it is the top 5 things to know in the market on Friday. First thing to know is U.S. advanced first quarter GDP is in focus. Investors will keep an eye on a preliminary reading of first quarter U.S. growth at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time Friday to gauge if the world's largest economy is strong enough to withstand multiple rate hikes in the coming months. The report is expected to show growth in the January-March period, slowing from an annual rate of 2.9% to 2%, as consumer spending is forecast to have slowed sharply from the last quarter. Amazon and Microsoft are expected to support tech stocks. Shares of Amazon rallied nearly 7% in pre-market trade on Friday after the e-commerce giant posted earnings that beat on both the top and bottom line. Amazon reported earnings of $3.27 a share on $51.04 billion in revenue, which was well above analysts' expectations for earnings of $1.26 a share on $49.78 billion in revenue. Third thing to know, U.S. stocks point to a mixed open ahead of GDP. After solid gains a day earlier, U.S. futures pointed to a more cautious stance on Friday ahead of the first quarter GDP data. While both the Dow and S&P 500 looked set to register slight losses, tech stocks were holding on to gains as Amazon and Microsoft supported sentiment. Fourth thing to know today is oil is cautious ahead of U.S. shale production data. The weekly installment of drilling activity from Baker Hughes on Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern will provide investors with fresh insights into U.S. oil production and demand after data last week showed the number of U.S. oil rigs rose for the third straight week. The weekly rig count is an important barometer for the drilling industry and serves as a proxy for oil production and oil services demand. And the fifth thing to know is the Bank of Japan stands pat amid central bank immobility. The Bank of Japan left its monetary stimulus program unchanged on Friday, as expected, but removed previous wording on reaching its 2% inflation around fiscal 2019, underscoring just how much more time will be needed to reach its 2% target. Its overall inflation forecasts were largely unchanged. Our second story today is one from NASDAQ.com. NASDAQ benefits from reinvigorated trading. In its last sequential quarter, NASDAQ relied on non-trading segments for growth as its market services segment turned in a near-flat performance. In the first quarter of 2018, however, healthy trading volumes resumed, and NASDAQ achieved expansion in each of its 4 operating segments, before shifting through important highlights of the quarter, let's briefly review the top-level performance. And we have revenue of $666 million, which is a 14.6% year-over-year growth. Net income attributable to NASDAQ is $177 million, which is 5.3% year-over-year growth. And diluted earnings per share is $1.05, which is a 6.1% year-over-year growth. What happened with NASDAQ this quarter? NASDAQ's impressive double-digit revenue gain was composed of 9.4% organic growth and a 3% boost from favorable foreign currency translation and a positive impact of 2.2% from acquisitions. Our third story today is from CNBC.com. Amazon has a new biggest bull on Wall Street, who predicts it will become the first trillion-dollar company ever in 12 months. Macquarie was so impressed with Amazon's blowout earnings, the global investment bank raised its 12-month price forecast to the highest on Wall Street, and a value that would imply a record milestone for a publicly traded company. We believe that even without margin expansion in the core retail, the other businesses can drive significant profit growth over the coming years and will make Amazon the first trillion-dollar company. It's analyst Ben Schachter who wrote that in a note to clients on Friday. As its core first and third-party retail sales continue to take significant share from virtually all competitors, its subscription business, AWS, and advertising business are all exceeding expectations markedly. Our fourth story today is from investing.com. Crypto trading on the NASDAQ? Why not, says CEO. The day may come when you can trade cryptocurrencies on the NASDAQ exchange, but not until proper regulation is in place. That's the position of CEO Adena Friedman in an interview with CNBC. Friedman says the NASDAQ would consider becoming a crypto exchange over time, assuming people are ready for a more regulated market. She's a believer in cryptocurrencies and says it's just a matter of how long it will take for that space to mature. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is news you can use for today, Friday, April 27th, 2018. Your options news rundown. I'm Dan Passarelli, TradeSmart, and have a great weekend.
Thank you for listening to the Options News Rundown. To learn more about these stories or any other developments from the world of options, visit www.theoptionsinsider.com, the premier source for free options information. The Options News Rundown is brought to you by Market Taker Mentoring, the leader in option trader education. Get trader education, daily trade ideas, and more with a free 1-week trial of Market Taker Mentoring's live Advantage group coaching class by visiting markettaker.com/insider.
The preceding program was a production of the Options Insider Radio Network. For more quality options programs, visit www.theoptionsinsider.com or search for Options Insider Radio Network in your podcast provider of choice. Listeners can also access all of our programming through our mobile app, available in iTunes and on Google Play. Don't forget to follow along with your favorite programs and submit your own questions for the hosts at twitter.com/options, facebook.com/theoptionsinsider, or via questions at theoptionsinsider.com.